Thank you very much. So in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give a quick rundown on the state of investing in European AI. You've all heard the buzz and the hype. It's always interesting to see what the numbers look like. So I'm going to first talk about the global state of AI investing, show you 9 mega opportunities, why it's interesting, and then finally how Europe is positioned, if Europe can actually play a leading role in this new space. So I say new, but of course AI is not new. In fact, kind of the current wave of investing, generative AI, you could look at it as a third wave of investing after 2 earlier big waves, autonomous driving and kind of AI first health tech, which includes kind of discovering new medicine and providing healthcare services. It's not that those 2 first waves are over, but they just came before a lot of the new kind of revolution happened, and that's why you see it peaked in 2021, but it's definitely still happening. But now you have those 3 combined, and the result is that now 20% of all VC investment globally goes to AI first companies, and that percentage has never been this high. You see that 20% is roughly similar in the UK, in France, and in the US. Those are kind of the 3 leaders, and the rest is catching up. And so as a result this year, we believe there will be about 65 billion invested in AI companies. It might be 70, it might be 80 billion. We're still in May, so it's still too early to tell, but it's going to be a massive number. Most of that money is still invested in the foundational layer. So nowadays you see people often splitting the market in these kind of 4 layers. So you have the computing layer at the bottom, foundation layer, which is where OpenAI, Anthropic, Mistral, these model makers are. Then you have the operational layer, where Hugging Face is a good example, and then the application layer. So far, most of all the billions are being invested in the foundational layer, and that money then is funneled to companies like Google Cloud, CoreWeave, NVIDIA, who provide the computing power. And you see the result is here. NVIDIA, for example, is now a 2 trillion company. On the right, you can see their revenues have been exploding from about 20 billion last year. It's expected to be something around 150 billion in the next few years. But there are also a lot of startups now entering this space, which is also going to be super interesting to watch. But most generative AI companies in the kind of the next phase you will expect are going to be in the application layer and the operational layer, and that's where normally you would expect in this early phase. It's normal that most of the money goes into the kind of bottom of the stack, and now you hope to see more startups being built on top of that, and because, for example, Meta has open sourced it, there's lots of players. It's became almost commoditized, this foundational layer. So it's a huge opportunity also for European companies to build on top of that. And we have to see how that ecosystem is going to develop. If it's going to be kind of like the PC era, where you can build huge companies on top of the PC kind of foundation, or if it's going to be like the App Store, where you or like building an app on inside Facebook's platform, where you have no power at all. But I'm personally pretty sure that it's going to be more like the former, like the PC platform, that you can actually build massive companies. And the reason why I think that is that the foundational layer is very competitive. Like there's not one person who's really dominating, one company is really dominating it. And we have also Meta to thank for that in a huge degree. So massive opportunity. So there are 9 examples of where these opportunities are, and here are some of them. So for example, devices. It's currently a duopoly between Apple and Android, basically. That's maybe not going to change overnight, but for sure there's going to be more devices. Like lots of people already bought this Amazon Echo. It wasn't working very well, but the next Echo is going to work brilliantly. And there's an opportunity also for new startups to create devices that work in the background and act as an agent for people. Not to mention smart glasses, health devices, and you name it. Another mega opportunity is this kind of mother of all funnels. Basically, you have Alphabet or Google and Meta, who have another duopoly in search and media. Basically, every business in the world depends on them for new customers and leads. And yeah, that duopoly was like rock solid until now. And again, it's not going to change overnight, but people are going to nibble for sure market share away. And also those two are going to nibble market share away from each other. You already saw Meta launching their chat and their search inside their own products. Perplexity, that you probably know, is an amazing search tool, much better than Google. A lot of people said they stopped using Google entirely. So this is going to be completely up for grabs and a massive opportunity. I could go on and on. So in software and cloud, there's a 600 billion market, also ready to be disrupted. Yeah, mobility is super interesting. So you can see already that the mobility players from 10 years ago are already being sidetracked by Tesla on the one hand and then China on the other hand. And luckily now you see a European company, Wave, that just raised 1 billion, can become a major player in mobility, because that market is going to completely change. I think that European car manufacturers are generally completely screwed, but new startups have a chance actually of competing, and they have probably very willing customers in a few years in the automotive industry. Aerospace and defense is a $2.5 trillion sector. The two biggest aerospace and defense companies in the world are SpaceX and Airbus. Two that couldn't be more different. But I think in a couple of years, this list of the top 20 companies is also going to be completely changed. Like the automotive sector, it's going to be mostly technology companies here. I could go on. So Tech.eu, developing new drugs using AI is a rapidly advancing field, and European companies are playing a leading role there. So talking about Europe to finish off in the last minute. So AI investing is completely dominated by the US at the moment, and that's especially because of all those investments that are happening in the foundation layer. So Europe is not really playing a role, significant role from an investment standpoint so far. And especially if you break it down by country, like the UK and France are like still miles away. There are some areas where Europe is relatively strong, so drug discovery, autonomous driving, and operations, robotics. And so what that means is that we have to, I think, collaborate more in Europe and create more a cohesive ecosystem. What this chart here shows is a ranking of the top 20 scientific tech clusters in the world. And the Bay Area and Boston are at the top, but 11 of the top 20 science hubs are actually based in Europe, and that's based on having the most entrepreneurial talent at university, so the most alumni who actually start a startup that raises venture capital. And and doing the most research also. So it's just a matter of commercializing this research better. And so to achieve scale, collaboration is key. And at Dealroom, we've been banging on about this idea of New Palo Alto. It's a pretty unique deep tech cluster that combines London, Paris, two leading AI hubs in the world. Then you have also Eindhoven, where ASML is built, for example. So if you draw a circle and you have also Cambridge and Oxford there, you actually have a super, super strong hub. And we have also done another ranking that shows that New Palo Alto actually comes out as the #2 hub in the world if you look at that combined. The same way that the Bay Area is actually a cluster of multiple cities. So just to finish off, I know I'm slightly over time, but it's the last slide. So we're now kind of in this third era. So the first era of tech was a PC era, and Europe had two major successes. Linux, which wasn't commercialized at all, but it's the biggest operating system in the world. And then ARM, which is a massive player in the semiconductors industry. Then you got the internet era, where Amazon and Facebook came out, and they were not challenged at all by European companies. But at the end of the internet era, you still got companies like Spotify, Adyen, and Revolut, which were like very, very successful companies. Now the cards are completely reshuffled again. There's a third era, which is going to be bigger than the first and the second. Where Europe really has a chance to play a leading role with companies like the ones listed here. So thank you.